Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Uh, a lot of this, right now, we're entering into, whether it looks like it or not, we're right in the middle of a developmental phase, not a cruising phase, a cruising period. Because a lot of times, if we don't mention it, you may not even be able to tell the difference between we're just cruising and now a developmental stage. But I want to read our favorite ayat just to Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Who is that better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, works righteous deeds, and say, I am of those who bow in Islam. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّا دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ ولا تستوي الحسنات ولا السيئات ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. Nor can goodness and evil be equal, repel evil with what is better. Then will be between he and between whom is and thee was hatred become, as it were, a friend and intimate. And no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience and self-restraint, none but persons of the greatest good fortune. I mentioned this because this is our technically for the next phase. This is, it has been, but this is our working ayat or a series of ayats, and it'll kind of fit into our evolution. During the war, the Revolutionary War, there was a book called, I mentioned it to y'all before, the Book of Negroes. The Book of Negroes was a book the British kept of American blacks that collaborated with them. And of course, they lost the Revolutionary War. So the Negroes, they took them to Canada first, and you could imagine how they treated them up there. And then they distributed them probably somewhere down in the southern hemisphere. But they were free and liberated. During the Civil War, I guess it was 170,000, something like that, black people that participated, and they, you know. And right after that, the 9th and 10th Cavalry, especially the 10th Cavalry, I know for sure, were technically Buffalo soldiers. And so one thing you never saw in the West, or in the old movies when we was coming up, was black soldiers. The cavalry, when they blow the bugle, they always white folks come running. The only one that I saw was an old one, Sergeant Rutledge. Yeah, Sergeant Rutledge. That was old. That must have been 61 or 60, so way back then. And I just happened to go in the movies, and I was a kid. I was just shocked. Why, they had black people in the army in those days, good God Almighty. And it was funny because, anyway, we won't stick on it. Then World War One, the most decorated soldiers in World War One was black soldiers, but they fought in French uniform with French uniforms. They were highly decorated. That's why after World War One, musicians and other people went to Paris because they were accepted and they were liked, you know. You got to remember the French had lost 1 million men, and they was looking around and they had the Negroes digging ditches and everything. They said, well, could we have those guys? Said, sure, you can have them niggas. So they fought so hard and was so well accepted. Imagine white folks not making a distinction in your color in 1917. Now, when they got back over here, some of the biggest lynchings was 1919. That was a big year because they got back and they thought they had something coming. And that was an old song. They pretended it was about white folks, but it was how you gonna keep them down on the farm after they've seen Paris. You know, so that was a jingle, and they had everybody thinking. Until I realized, till I got grown, I thought it was about white folks. How you gonna keep all them white folks down on the farm after they've seen Paris? But it was really about Negroes. How you gonna keep them niggas down in Mississippi and Tennessee after they've traveled all the way over in Europe and been treated like human beings and loved? And they come back here with a different view of white folks, but when they got back here, the white folks was the same and worse. In fact, they wanted to let them know for sure, whatever you experienced over there, you a nigger here. And they hung one of the brothers down where I'm from in Arkansas in his uniform with all of his medals on his chest, just to let people know. So World War One was a bust. World War II was similar. But have anybody ever heard of the double V? The double V, victory overseas and victory here. It was popular in the Pittsburgh Courier, all the black newspapers. We're going to have victory against the Nazis, but we're going to have victory here. So for black people, it was a double V. Victory over there and victory here. And when the Negro got back here, he realized, with his overwhelming record, and even the head guy had his plane, wrote on his plane by request, for the Red Tails. And they just put up a good fight. They cut these bombers' losses to zero almost. Not zero, like none, but way down. And Korea and Vietnam wasn't much better, except Martin Luther King says our young men can die in foxholes together in Vietnam, but they can't go in schools and restaurants together over here. It made a little sense. But now, this tough weed turning everything over to Allah, and, and then Rida, being pleased with what you have. I want to kind of outline technically where we are right now. And we're at the stage where we have really turned things over to Allah. Now, this has been a theme of ours for, we've been feeling this where we are right now. But basically, my belief where we are right now is that we're not going to put up a whole lot of resistance to what's happening right now. My belief is that operationally, that and according to the time framework and other things that are happening, that a lot of things that we visualized before, I believe we may not have time to do those things. Example, homelessness, getting around to all the universities and talk. We're going to have to get these DVDs around and some kind of way get into the feel of black people joining up with the system for their own protection, but we never know. That time just may not come. So here's where we are right now. This tough weed, turning everything over to Allah. That means you're planning your future and all of that, which is difficult for somebody that have always planned. And a few years ago, we started releasing, like our discipline. We have articles on planning and leadership and organizing, all that stuff. We actually believe in it because that's how we survived. When we left, we had a plan when we left. When we come back, we kind of had a plan. When we came out of the penitentiary, we had a plan. We can go over our old articles and the plan is right there, like this right here. From opening the Masjid, what we was going to do, and da 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 da. But now Tafweed, we've talked about Tafweed and Rida. Tafweed is turning, Wafada means you turn everything over to Allah. That don't mean you don't plan. You got to have a plan for tomorrow. I mean, you could get up bumping in the walls and not, It don't mean, it means your major moves in life, you're turning that over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was years ago. And this is what helped actualize these series of ayats, because it gave us a feeling of where we had to be, where our attitude had to be. Let me try to, I don't particularly believe that right now we have time to rescue America from its acceleration is just, maybe others may not pick it up, but my feeling is this boy is accelerating. If he had to choose how to look like a fool and how to mess up his whole future, he'd been doing it. Now, it started way back. It wasn't Donald Trump that kicked it off, but as Donald Trump kicked in, I remember making a statement. First, it was light, like Donald Trump is here to destroy the Republican Party. No, Donald Trump is here, I don't know if anybody remember, to bring down America. And his weight is still here. He's still, that all is not like he ain't went nowhere. And then if you had to choose who would be the worst person to put in a job after Donald Trump, it would be this man here. It's almost like you feel sorry for him or something. Like, dog, man, like he can't, every time he comes up to bat, he strikes out. They ought to just call him out before he go. I mean, walked and got on base, He just fanned out. Okay. The new configurations of governments and peoples, the new signs or the signs that we see. If we see Latin America having a meeting and they all speaking out about, well, we don't know if we want to go because this guy's saying, if Cuba can't come, we can't come. If Nicaragua can't come, we can't come. You know what I mean? If Maduro can't come, if Venezuela can't come, why should we come? And a lot of their main stooges, Mexico and all of them, are saying that. Okay, it's different. And the way they're treating their people, they're visibly saying, here's $40-something billion we're sending over to, which they're not. They sending their old weapons over there. And they're replenishing that new force here. And the weapons are not getting anywhere because the Russians know where these are train stations, these are highways, right? And how are you going to get tanks and shipments of weapons? You're going to either put them on a train or you're going to have convoys on highways, or you can wait all you want during the night and hide during the day, but you can't do that because we got little things that track you and we know where you are. And plus, the weapons they're sending, not doing any good. And the lies about, well, we're ready to beat up these guys, and whoever you listen to other than the United States of America, those people are taking a good butt whooping. And actually, they're getting tired of it. Because the guy is saying, hey, the old dumb president over there, hey, y'all talking all, but they ain't not. And the generals, they got generals that are quitting. They got all kind of stuff going on. They don't say much about it. Man, if you listen to white folks' news, it's like they're talking about something different. It's not the same thing at all. Don't mention Africa and everybody else. First of all, Africa from the 70s, 60s, and 70s, the Russians, and and what Cuba did in Angola, sending them to South Africa, that's why when Clinton told Mandela, we don't want you to mess with Cuba too much. You remember what he told him? He said, these people was with us in our darkest hour. And those people that say stay away can go jump in the pool. We used to say jump in the lake, swallow a snake, come out with a bellyache. But he said, they can, and Clinton is standing there. He said they can go jump in the pool. He didn't go on to say, and you guys, you were your Sullivan principles and all that crap. You were supporting South Africa the day before the thing fell apart. So people, in other words, forget about all of the poor people drowning trying to come to Europe, and then they just saying, oh, well, these are white people like us. They have blonde hair, blue eyes, and all of you Indians, they're kicking out of the Indians and Africans and any other people of color. And all of them people go back home. And everybody got a TV all over the world now. Therefore, the United States can't do anything right. So its decline is imminent. So I feel like these ayats is not for before the decline of America. It's for right after the decline. That I feel that our job, no matter how bad the situation gets here in America, we have to prepare for the revival and reconstruction. You know, we have to assemble teams of to reconstruct, reverse reparations, where we repair America. It's always been on the screen, but we talked about it in a little different terms, that we would have to be present and we would be the only one with experience of dealing with, these type of things. And we would have to help have a certain amount of power to help the people there evolve. Because even if they're climate mongers and wanting a clean climate, they still don't like the system. And once they get rid of them, they may, all their little horns might come out. They may still be good environmentalists, but the little horny things may start coming out, and they may want to get, you put us through all of this, which, okay. No, we've been thinking and planning all of this time. None of this stuff is new to us. This is our 30-something, 40th. This is way up, and we've had 30 years, and you can look at our flyers, our lectures, some places that come out in news. We've been about this all along. We've been about this type of thing. But there's a little evolution going on. When this thing crumbles, we have to be, now I visualize it as we go into California, we get our money in big chunks, and that around that time, of course, the crumbling of the crash will be the decline. Whatever is going on, it'll be way worse than what's happening now. I don't believe there's any way of it climbing out of it's gave out too much money, it's did too much wrong, it's nowhere to go. Okay. But still, when Rome fell, it still was there, so it should be, When Britain fell a few years back, it didn't go away. It still was there. America is not going away. But there have to be a group of people with a ultra-modern mentality to help bring America into a new reality. And that old rag they're using, the Constitution, how can, when people, it took you a month to go down to Carolina in those days. It takes you a couple of hours now. That's the slow way driving. Uh, that Constitution is to say it's out of date is the worst thing. Is the easiest thing you could say about it. It's not only out of date. It just they're trying to cram all of this modern stuff into it, and the people aren't even they into that. Okay. The other thing is level-headedness. It has to be a group of people who are really level-headed. Whatever happens, it's going to have elements of chaos and destabilization in it. Whatever happens in the near future, it's going to be a big destabilizing effect. I don't know if you heard on some of the things, they have some of the Nazis here going over, joining up with some of the Nazis. Getting training and everything, and then they'll be back here. Okay.
That's almost automatic that they had because it seems like they've been already preparing, the mentality of Americans with labeling them homegrown terrorists or something prior to. So they've already been preparing the mentality.
Okay. America have too many fault lines. Okay. There's a big group of people that will not go along with those Dixiecrats and extreme right wing murderers and killers that going over there, Nazis, Now you got to remember, a lot of that stuff is made up in the beginning. A lot of the shootings, a lot of the killings is made up. But as time go on, some of that stuff get out of hand. And confusion, you can see confusion in the last killing of all those children down near the Mexican border. They say they had an hour to go in there. And they had to fight to keep the parent. They had to handcuff some of the parents to stop them from, you know what I mean? And they ain't making a move. And when you read all the names, you see that all the kids was Mexican. But even a lot of the police were Mexican. However people look at it, they're going to look at it like, you waited an hour? I mean, a whole hour, 60 minutes, not 6 minutes. People are calling on the phone, please, mama, come get me. Right? And this was for a long time. And then you hear the shots in your own phone. Bam!
Police, they were fighting with the parents. The father showed up packing. It was like, you're going to let me in. And the police were fighting with the parents to keep the parents from going in to save their kids and stuff. Meanwhile, you're hearing the shots going off in the background.
That must have been traumatic.
Exactly. Are you a father? And you just like, I'm going to go in there and get my son and stuff. And the police won't let you. And the police ain't going in there either. And you just hear the shots going off. That is, I can only imagine.
It's chaos. That's what it is. It's chaos. Everything, America is in chaos right now. It's just that people go to work and they, when you read about this period in history, it will be a period of chaos. You know what I mean? This will be a post-Civil War period, 1859 when John Brown got hung and Harper. That's the period that This is what we're living in. All the things that lead up to the Civil War is already, you could go home and have breakfast because it's all already laid out that these things are going to basically happen. But what about us? Or where are we going to be? We're selecting right now our position. And our position is not like help the homeless and all that and get all that. That'll just consume all your time, energy, and resources. Okay. So we are preparing now for the post-traumatic events that's happening here in America. And that's where we have to prepare and bring stability. So that's what we're moving toward. And we've exhausted all of our remedies with the system. We've cudgeled them, told them 1,000 times we want to help the situation. But the weight of this system is too big, and when it come crashing down, we're going to try to move out of the way and be ready to come in and transform. So we're saying to civilization, don't panic. You know what I mean? Don't panic. As to say it is one thing, but I don't know if anybody have ever been through a period of panic. But panic is what it is. People's eyes are big. People are not thinking. People are panicked. And they're drowning. And you know, the first thing with drowning people, they teach you hit them people and not get them off of you because they're going to bring you down. Okay. Now the world, the world, they're in a panic now. It's just like it's not, I guess they want the Channel 5, the movie version of Panic. A big shock, tidal wave coming to finish off or something like that. But just the normal stuff, 200 or 300 people dead before June and 100 shootings. They ought to look at themselves through the world. What do they think the world is thinking about when they look at America? They say, dog, man, I thought we had it bad, but them boys, I mean, they on a roll. You know, that's the world is looking at the stuff.
That's just like what China's doing.
Huh?
That's like what China's doing on what's CTGN.
Right.
They're featuring what's happening,
But they're telling China, you guys are messing up, you're blowing it, you got to listen to us. And then they go on to Asia, telling the people, you know, the Titanic, one of them big steam boilers is already in the water and the ship is already turning upside, ready to head down. And they telling, get with us. Get with us. And it's a joke, like they promised the Big Ten Asians, they said that we'll give you $15 million or something. You remember that? It's ridiculous. The Chinese gave them 1.5 billion or trillion, I don't know what it is. They wonder why is everyone hooking up with China. And they're wondering why is all of Africa that's got any sense left supporting Russia, either overtly or I don't know what's going on. I can't. They done told them we don't want no niggas here. In Ukraine, we don't want no niggas. And we was lucky we let you come, and now you can go home, but you got to walk. The people are so stupid. You know what I mean? This is what chaos and confusion is. But I don't know what level, and we're not really concerned at what level it have to get to. We just know this, what's going on now, have a final conclusion. And that conclusion will be the collapse of what is now called the American system. And if people are pulling away from America, the money system and everything else, that alone has got to collapse. You're talking about a free ride? A lot of people don't know what they do in America. Example, 25 years ago, Escobar was going to pay off the Colombian debt. It was $4.5 billion in those days. He's going to pay off if they don't do no extradition thing with him, with the U.S. That was just $4.5 billion. That's in 1989, 1990 something money. You know what I mean? So it was still a little money. Okay, a lot of people don't understand what they do here. People save all of their savings overseas in U.S. dollars because you can't save pesos because today it's 20 pesos per dollar. Next month it's 35 pesos. So you can't save in your own country. You have to save in U.S. dollars or German marks or something like that. Therefore, there's more money outside of America, American money, than there is inside of America. Because they estimate, like the drug trade, they estimate they're taking out $50 billion a year, just say. And that's it down in Colombia. And so what do? They print out 50 more. They print 50 billion brand new dollars. And they've been doing that all the time. So there is actually 700 zillion dollars out there in the world. What about when the thing crashed here and the dollar started going down? Not only think about those people over there. They got to dump their dollars too. And they got more dollars over there than they do here. They've been doing it since I was there. Everybody saved their money. Even when you buy product, you don't buy it in pesos, you buy it in dollars. You can't buy no shipment of cocaine for no pesos. Either in Mexico, everywhere I've ever run across it, I was always in dollars. Everything is priced in dollars. Everything is priced in dollars. Imagine how many dollars are out. And are they going to just say, yeah, that's going to make it hard for us to have any dollars. That's going to make our dollar more expensive in here. We won't have any dollars to shoot. Hey, that's 50 billion a month gone. That's 50 billion we get to crank up, brand new dollars. Here. They've been doing it all the time, and they do it everywhere. All Iranians save in dollars. Pakistanis saving dollars. Everybody's saving dollars. And they buy dollars. One of the biggest hustles we had was in Tanzania. In Tanzania, I remember this happened in 72, 73. Boy, it was something. First of all, on the black market, on the market at that time, you go into the bank, you get 7 shillings per dollar. So if you change $100, you get 700 shillings. If you go to Indian that own all the stores, they get all the money, you can get, at that time, top price, you could get 21, maybe even 25 per dollar, 25 shillings per dollar. So none of us changed money in the bank. We all changed money on the market. And the less, the less we was going to get was, if I was in a hurry, I may do a 15 per dollar, like double the price, 7 in the bank, 15, so I'd got $200 worth of shillings, which I can go right now and buy whatever price the thing is, and I got double the price, and so I'm getting at everything half price. And if I got time to go to Connects, I can get 21. That's 3 times. So all of those people have saved their money in Kenya, all over Africa, and one time it was really bad. What the government in Dar es Salaam knew it, because all the Indians owned all of. The government was black, but the Indians owned all 95% of all businesses. All the big houses in Oyster Bay and all that, they lived in them. It was big time. Indians in Uganda, when Idi Amin was there, he just threw them out. And to the envy of everybody else, they would have loved to do it somewhere, but they just didn't have the nerve. So here's what happened. I just came back and they was me. He said, "Man, if you'd have been here last month, man, it was a free for all." What happened? He said, "Well, they closed down the borders, Kenya, and he said they closed down the borders, and then they said everybody can exchange 5,000 shillings at a time, which is basically nothing. This is $12 at a time. And after a certain date, the 100 shilling notes will be finished. You can't use those anymore. They will be out of date. So if you got money in old shillings, you have to change them 5,000 at a time. And then they go by your account, so they couldn't do it. So who could change zillions at a time? The Negro. He told me, "Man, we got rich." He said the Indians was coming bowing down, "Bwana, please just take them. Give us anything." Because African Americans could go change them because we're not citizens. And we don't, we could turn them in, we could just change them. And so, without any explanation. And man, that was terrible the way the government did but the Indians own 90. Anyway, you see what Idi Amin did, so there was something going on. Anyway, that's what they did. Okay, in modern times, we're now engineering ourselves in a position where we believe the world is going to be soon. That's what we're doing right now. We're engineering ourselves into that position. And we have to begin, when we go to California and get our money from the government, we're going to start a program of restoration and recovery. We're going to wait till the thing happens. But we're going to put in teams of writers, artists, movie makers. We expect to have enough money to do that. Not to rescue the people from the fall, but to rebuild the system when it falls apart. Remember, we've been expecting this for decades. This is nothing new. But what I'm saying today is the details of the little pieces are beginning to fall into place now as we get closer. So we feel that after the fall, the possibility or the road to restoration and recovery will have a lot, because things will be chaotic and destabilized. If we have so many billions of dollars, by that time we might be able to put some of it into gold, and some overseas holdings or something. Yeah. So that we at least have something tangible. But we're not taking gold certificates like certificates. We're talking about gold, the gold, in your hand gold. Yeah. That weighs a lot. So our vision of the near future is restoration and recovery. Teams of writers, artists, simple reconstruction teams like that. That's what is not to grab hold of the people and rescue them from in these military bases and feed them and all that. We have to have a plan of recovery and restoration. And that's why we'll really be going back and really be going into court so we can get funds to work with. Not as soon as possible. We're not in a hurry. But we don't know when this is going to happen. If it happens before, we'll have the best plan, and maybe the Muslims will listen to us if it's an emergency. But during an emergency, people gravitate to the ones that are strong. They always do. I don't care. They talking. You know what I mean? When it's a real trauma, they don't even think about it. These are the ones that have strength. All the big mouth imams and all those flamboyant people, they're not going to go to them. They're going to come to us. You know why? Because everybody knows who we are. No matter where we go, they got an idea of what's going on. And they're going to be coming our way. Why? Because we've been anti-Zionist, we've been pro-Islamic all along. Right? We've been, whatever we are, we've been this. And we have told them that, and now they see it. And when they see it, they sometimes they might act on it. So Allah helped guided us to this mission. We have to help humanity recover. Whether it's our personal mission or collective mission, we thank Allah for it. The stuff that people did in the past, I have a lot of stuff written down, all the dumb stuff, spark plugs, and I had a spark plug, and then I had a bottle with all that stuff disappeared. Where they stuck the bottle up, on the roof, and it, had black ring around it and then the water won't go down and swell up, and that's what it did to our property out there. We was gonna talk about some of that today, but we're just leaving all of that stuff behind. Stolen trucks, stolen all the stuff out there. This you need a new car. Hell, you the ones brought these cars out there. If I drive a car back from Dixie and it runs like a top, and 2 days later it don't run, you know, it rattles and makes noise. Overnight, you park it and it's quiet as a church house mouse. Then you start it up, and it sounds like first a diesel engine, and then the day after that, I pull it up there and park it. Okay, the car out there, I can drive it, lock and put water in it, and then drive it back. But who's gonna waste all their time with that? You know, system is paying for that. I don't have to pay for it. They're accelerating their downfall. The more they do to me, now you got to remember, I claimed years and years ago. This very period, this very time, and I was gonna stuff it down their throat that your rush downhill cause how you treat the brother. Should have did a better job. And the more you do, the quicker you're going to go downhill. Like that's the way it's going. I mean, so nothing I can do about it. They're the ones that's doing it. The dumb dentist. I don't want to talk about. I said I was going to go. Okay. There were some people that did dastardly things in the past, and they're still doing them. We're not going to follow them around. We're going to jump into self-management on the highest level. Self-esteem maximal. And remember, we've been punching above our weight all along. Been punching way above our weight, and now we're punching even more above our weight. And other people are paralyzed, whether it's Texas or whether it's wherever, it's everywhere now. This is what you call chaos, and it just the panic haven't set in. The chaos is in already. This is chaos. There's not immediate panic where running around and their eyes is big. They should be. It's enough going on. So we basically, I'll put it like this. So we're putting together teams not to stop the fall of America. Stand back and let it go its way. And then and ours is more of rescue and restoration. You know, put people back together. And a lot of things in one that I talk about, Suhufi Ibrahim wa Musa. So I have wrote down here, Suhufi Musa. That is the scrolls. Yeah, because all this stuff is going to go on. It's not from a religious thing, but from a Negro. The scrolls, what we have been talking about, what we have been, even if our old writings, they are historical outlines of reality. That's what they are. Okay. So one of the things that we're going to do right now, or very soon, is all the stuff we have on CDs and DVDs, we're going to have it, typed out, checked, and it'll be stacks of literature. It's enough for 5 or 10 volumes. Yeah. We'll categorize them by section. Because the people are going to have to know that someone has been putting that out already. There's another element. Our people, especially young people, will be able to, of course, they are, especially some Palestinians and even a few Negroes, get the hang of it. They'll love to transcribe and translate stuff. And see, there's periods of activity and there's periods of writing. Okay. Writing experimentation, that's what we've been doing. We've been writing, right? Experimentation, we've been doing it to the max. Everything we've been doing is kind of experimental. We've been experimental, that don't mean we're going to try and see what, no, we've tried it already times, now we're going to retry it another 100 times. That's where the word redundancy comes in. Everything we've been doing has been redundant. It's not guesswork anymore. We know what human certainty, we know what is produced. They're produced. We have an idea about how much time it takes for those things to materialize. So we're punching way above our weight. It don't matter what they think. We already know. We know what we have been doing. So to influence the direction of change, to manipulate, to manage the direction of change. And remember, the Chinese have been doing it for thousands of years. Archives, chronicalization, historicized documentation. And remember the position that they gave those type of people in China? It was almost like a messenger or somebody. The grand historian. Right? This is the title. They didn't call him just a historian. This is the grand historian. And some people protected some of them books with their life. The guy is telling about, no, my poor wife, she gave her life to save certain things. Even the wife knew the importance. So we got tractor beam of history. We got boss man. There's no sense of that. Look, you might as well say we. What do we mean by we? We, our analysis, got boss man attracted and hooked. Whatever is going on, he's doing what he's going to do. As though he can't escape that. Now, he does have a choice, but he's not making it. He's doing what we say he's going to do. It's just like the space age tractor beam. He hooked. He can't go nowhere. He's not going anywhere. He haven't even. That's the truth. For us, is not to panic. This is civilizational transformation. It's throughout history. Nothing new. It's just that we outlived that of killing Indians, of doing this and doing that. History outlived other periods. And now we are the period that we brought into. We're outliving that. That period, you could smell that it's at the end of it. You know, okay. Now, we're not just coasting this tough weed. We have a plan, hope that is within Allah's plan to manipulate and manage and influence the direction of change. It's going to collapse anyway. So, do we want to fall straight down, or we want to fall all over and over? Or people to run around with their chicken, like a chicken with their head cut off? What we're talking about is a skill manipulation of the battle space with hikmah, not a freak control type syndrome. Notice boss man want to control everything. He want to control everybody, and if he can't, he's mad. Okay, that was a time when he did that, but that time is up. That boy done really blew it bad, and he's too slow to realize it. That boy is slow. You can never, of those end of transitional periods, you wonder, how did we follow that bum? How did we follow him? The laughing stock of the world. If anybody paid attention to the old president running around the world recently, everywhere, everybody laughing at him. He haven't got nothing going on. It's not he, it's the system. Okay, I was going to talk about the people that had been influential in the last decades, but we aside. Abdul Malik, all the Sister Bahiyas, all of the Deans, and all the stuff they did. Might as well just wrap it up. They may still be doing it, but there's no There's no fun in it, no nothing in it anymore. And they're not coming around. And I mean, up until yesterday, they still doing it. Well, it must probably today too. But they still living in illusion, and they can't get it. What you tell them, they go back to boss man. They have, uh, but this is a historical problem. People had with Pharaoh, they had with the British. You know, people I used when I was staying at a hotel going south. Most of the hotel are Indian. I was talking to the Indian guy. It's about 15, maybe 20 years. I was saying, yeah, but America is old, man. He said, yes, but they're going to come back. That was the Uncle Tom Indian. You know, because he has confidence. Well, he had confidence. But now if you watch Indians now, they haven't self-confidence. They starting to, hey, man, we doing what's good for India. And you can't tell for you thing about it, and it's supposed to be good for you. What we should have to be good for us first. People are waking up, and the main wake up thing is maybe India can still be used as Pakistan and, of course, against China. So they have to work that out. Japan knows the truth, and they've raped enough women in Okinawa and everywhere else, you know, Japanese women, American. For them to know who they're dealing with. And maybe they're Bushido. To assemble reconstruction teams of writers, movie makers, and motivators. The next period we're preparing for. The first preparation is to get our money from the system. If we don't get our money from the system, we'll raise it like we've done everything else. So, you know. And by that time, everyone will know who CARE is. Everyone will know who, you know. I was shocked that CARE was over there giving a talk the other day, and he had at the thing, he was there big time. Okay, that's okay. It's no big deal. But in the near future, he won't be over there. They're going to be wanting to hear about Suhufi Musa, the scrolls of Musa. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, look, and I'll close with this. You have to think big. That's one of the things that after you get to doing it, it becomes natural. So we have to see our place. And why look for a small place means nothing. We have to play a serious part in this new dispensation. And here's old boss man that sent us a $4,664 thing for the water next door. So we'll call and get a hearing. If they want some money from us, they're crazy. And when we have the hearing, I'm going to go in there and tell them just what I say right here. And you can like it or not. I'm not here to please you guys. You know, the water was on all the time. You got a meter. And if it was anybody else, after they'd run for no longer than a day, you would cut off the water. When my water was running at my house, there was a guy parked right over there looking at the house. And when I called him, his phone, he said, I'm right outside, been over here looking at the house. Maybe your toilet. And I looked there, it's his toilet. Okay. So if that water ran for 2 or 3 weeks, you know, even if they give us a break on it and say, well, we're just going to overlook it, it don't make no difference. I want to know why you overlooked it, you know. And all of this, it'll be remodeled to the state that's necessary, or if we can get a dumpster this week, because we have to empty out all of those places. And we built everything. When we got that finished, the day we got that finished, the family that was going to stay there was in the front. They just zipped on over to somewhere else. I'm saying the day it was finished. If anybody can remember, they can remember that period. That period, when that was finished, zoop, goodbye. The studio back there, or annex, whatever you call it, Masjid al-Islam News, finished. The gym, nobody ever used it. But when we was here, we was having meetings on buddy team programs for working out. And we had our chief workout instructor here at that time. Maybe the problem could have been to have a workout instructor that's never worked out, or that had the appearance of being 8, 9 months pregnant. You know, that breathed hard all the time, that couldn't walk around the block. Oh, that's okay. So, well, why did we do all of this? We do this for exercise, because we've done our part. And remember, when you lay out a building, if you're going to California, you say, well, I'll open up a building before I go out there. So I have to put a foundation, I have to put walls, I have to put a roof, I have to think in those terms. So I'm going back to California. If I put up a building, I have to think I'm going there. So I have to get everything ready, foundation, walls, roof protect, and da-da-da-da-da. And that might be why you see all the stuff. But we remember that building right there. We have to know something about what we're doing. If it's been there when we put that roof on 2 years ago, not a leak in it. And all the sags, and there was no problem. We just jack it up, put the stuff under there. All that stuff is easy. Everything is easy, it's simple. You know? Okay. That's the way we're going to do the society we're living in. If people's leaning over, we're going to jack them up a little bit, put a support on them. Sure, why not? Yeah. Okay. Are there any questions or any comments at all?
No questions.
Okay, then if we could call our friend that usually get the dumpsters, this Saturday we could might as well get the same size we all, because by the time we clean everything out, you know, inshallah we'll just fill it up. And If we got stuff at home, we could bring it home, bring it and dump it in there too, just to try to fill it up. Okay, so this Friday, we'll take not Darl Hijra. What's the place right now? PGMA. Maybe we'll try to go out there tomorrow or at least Thursday evening to try to talk to the chief to see if it's all right to open up. Whatever you say, we can open up outside. But if we're inside the parking lot and we get there early and set up the tables and, and what have you, it would be more official. And then people could stop and get a meal better. We should get some more plates and knives and forks and tablecloths. In fact, if somebody could take me out to the thing, we could go out there and get a few things. Okay, no questions or comments? All right, we want to thank everybody very much. And this is a period of recovery and restoration. Okay. So thank you very much. Akula Kali Hada.